Alright everyone, I know it's been a little bit of time since the last time I've uploaded anything, but I know this was an interesting match that we had at locals, and I want to share this with everybody. I was playing some Lunalight Shenanigans. It's mostly a lot of rank 4s and a couple other little random deck ideas that I've been wanting to use, but I just never got around to putting together. And it's mostly because my Orchist, I was letting another player borrow that because he wants to get his invite with Orchist soon, and he thinks it's probably one of his best bets. And so I wanted to go ahead and let him practice with it, and I was just going to keep playing with Lunalights because I was having a lot of fun with them. They're a really simple, easy to play engine, but there's a lot of plays that I don't think about until it's already too late. Kind of like what you see here is I opened up very well for the deck, and I still managed to make suboptimal plays. I definitely should have thought more about this play that I'd make right here, and because if I had more time, it definitely would have been a good idea to not make Nyarla with the Kaleido chick and the Martin, because I could have detached the two of them, or I could have made it with the Emerald Bird and detached Emerald Bird and Martin or whatever, and actually used Emerald Bird to special back something else. But you live and learn. You can see right here, I'm thinking, okay, well, it's all effect. I don't have anything to special with her, so I kind of realized I screwed myself on that. But we keep playing, and right here I'm like, well, I should go into a Barricade Borg, and then I realized, oh wait, I put this deck together literally just a few minutes before this started. I don't have one because I didn't have one on me. So now I'm thinking, okay, so what am I supposed to do? So I'll go ahead and thin out the deck by getting another PK out of it. This is one of those engines that I was talking about wanting to play again. I really like the PK engine. You don't have to play a very large one. You can just be as simple as like a 2-1-1 or 2-2-1, or even down to a 1-1-1 if you really wanted to. So anyways, I thin out the deck with the PK engine, get the Cloak and Boots. I've gotten them both out of the deck. Revealed the danger, specialed it, made it curious, and now curious I'm realizing, wait, I don't have any of the Orchist cards to send, and that's usually what I like to send off of this. And then now I'm kind of also thinking, okay, well, what else is the next best thing to send? And I don't really have anything in this deck because like I said before, I didn't really have a lot of time. There's not really a specific win condition in this deck, and so I'm just kind of winging it as I'm playing it, making it up as I go along, trying to figure out, okay, what is the best. And so anyways, I send the Forbidden Chalice because I'm like, okay, I can at least make a Griffin and bring that back with its effect. Now I'm thinking, okay, so if I do that, how am I going to get a rank 4 and it? And then I'm kind of sitting there like, oh yeah, duh, I can just make the Raid Raptor Exceed monster search out Zephyros. And as I'm doing this, I'm like, wait a second, am I going to mill anything else? No. Okay, don't want to go ahead and get that out of the deck. Well, doesn't really matter because I'm going to get both of them out of the deck. So here, I think I finally decide, yeah, that's the right play, is to get the Zephyros. So we go ahead and make that, get Zephyros to our hand, and like, okay, now we have the card that we're going to discard. Shuffle real well because this deck can brick really easily if it's not randomized enough. So here I'm thinking about all I have left, so I'll go ahead and get the Fog Blade out of the deck because I'm like, I'm gonna forget that if I don't do it now. So now I have the Fog Blade, I have the Zephyros, and I have a Tiger in hand. And I think it's right here that I go ahead and make the Griffin after thinking, oh yeah, I guess I don't really have any more plays I can really make. And I'm kind of like miffed about how whenever I make the Griffin, I'm not going to really be able to do much of anything else because it prevents me from really having more than just the one exceed monster on board that I can activate its effect. And now I'm kind of rethinking my entire life, wondering why I decided to build this deck and play it in an incomplete, untested deck. And I'm like, well, you know what? We're going to do this anyways. So we'll go ahead and get the Kaleido Chick, then out the deck a little bit more with Kaleido Chick, just because why not? So I get the other Martin out of the deck, so no more Martins, one less dead draw. So here I'm thinking, well, how do I really want to do this? I can make a 3, I can make a 2, or I can just make the Griffin and discard Zephyros, set the Forbidden Chalice, and then use Zephyros effect, paying 400 life points to and returning a Tiger back to the hand. Gonna go ahead and overlay the 2 of those into an Abyss Dweller because it's the single best rank 4 monster in the game. I go ahead and set my Fog Blade and pass. I keep the Tiger in hand because there's no really a point in activating it and special summoning else anything out. It does give me the guaranteed rank 4 for next turn in case I need it, especially in case I get evenly matched or something like that. So anyways, my opponent starts off with a Extravagance. Probably the best way to start off any of these rogue decks or kind of awkward tier 2 decks. At this point, I know, but I'm acting like I don't know what my opponent's playing, because I try to keep everybody at least on a fair level on all this, and I don't want to make it seem unfair in these matchups. So anyways, he activates his Gold Sarcophagus. Go ahead and gonna put out a tin can. So at this point, you kind of know that there's going to be a Kozmo Town in his hand to add that back, because Gold Sarc is basically just a search any card in your deck when you have a Kozmo Town in hand. And I think right here, I actually had somebody come in and was asking a ruling, and I had to read the card, and I had to read I had to read the translation of a card on my phone, and I let them know real fast. Didn't take very long. So anyways, my opponent goes ahead and adds back the tin can, normals the tin can, sets 3 cards, and proceeds to end phase and activate his effect. And at this point, I'm like, I might as well try to just force out the pilot that he has in hand. And he summons out a Slip Rider, and right here I'm just kind of reminding him, let's finish up the chain first, because Slip Rider will go on the next chain. And just kind of emphasizing, like, we're not going to forget it, but I just want to go ahead and make sure we do this right. That way, in case you ever decide to take this to a regionals, you're not going to get screwed out on something. So anyways, we roll the die. He gets his Dark Lady. On the new chain, he activates Slip Rider. He's thinking, well, I can target Tiger. And I was like, well, Tiger is going to special summon if you destroy it. And he kind of goes, well, how many targets you got? I got plenty. At that point, he decides to go ahead and just bait out the Fog Blade. And I'm like, well, okay, I might as well just target it. It's not really going to hurt anything. And then I think it was coming up soon, we realized that the Slip Rider had to have activated its effect whenever it's linked. So yeah, right there we go ahead and I just let him move it over, because like I said, it's locals. We're not trying to really make this a hard match, a regionals level match. We're just having a lot of fun at locals. So anyways, I go ahead and activate my Abyss Dweller to see if he will let me, because I'm thinking, okay, if he lets me do that, then I can just go off right here. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm calling out like, okay, go ahead and strike it, strike it, strike it. And he has his own Forbidden Chalice, which is a little bit unfortunate for him, because this goes ahead and leaves a body on board for me. I don't have to necessarily get rid of it at any point. I go ahead and use a Tiger, and special out an emerald, and go ahead and use the activate the other tiger and special out a Kaleido chick. And at that point, he flips over a different dimension ground. And for some reason, I start thinking about it. I'm like, okay, it's a macrocosmos. That's fine. And then I'm like, wait a second. This is a little bit. What else I need to do here? He only has one more back row. Anything I'm going to be using, it's going to go straight to the banished. And I'm kind of going, well, shoot, I wasn't planning on something like this. This is a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Because I'm also thinking I need to make a tornado dragon to set up for later to hit the fog blade so I can attack his slip rider or to pop his last back row. And I'm thinking, well, how am I going to do this exactly? So anyways, I go ahead and make a unicorn, and I discard, and thinking it's macrocosmos, so I discard the 10 key to the banished pile. And at that point, one of the people that were watching us go like, oh yeah, that's a different dimension ground. No, it's only monsters. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's not a big deal. So anyways, we just fixed that little error real fast, and I shuffle in his Kozmo Town so he can't get back his tin can. And now I'm like, okay, go ahead and do the Martin play for the rank 4. And I'm going to go ahead and make a tornado dragon right here. And I'm thinking about what else I could do. Is it possible to actually do anything else? And I kind of sit there and just decide, no, it's not really worth it. So I just make the tornado dragon and pass. Still thinking about anything else I could possibly do. Is it worth it? No, it's not. So he draws for turn. He's got 3 cards in hand. One of them is a Dark Lady that he got from his first turn. He's kind of staring it down. He's thinking, goes battle phase, and I'm like, do you remember what Fog Blade does? He goes, oh shoot, I forgot. I remember that second effect. So we go main phase 2. So right here, he's kind of thinking, well, what exactly is my out? He has a back to the front set, and he's looking at his extra deck, thinking, is there anything in here that can help me? And then he's kind of thinking, oh yeah, that's right. You don't really play a lot of extra deck cards that actually help. It's really just Infinity is about the only thing you might play in the extra deck. Well, Nova Infinity package. So he goes ahead and activates his back to the front. Specials out his Dark Destroyer. And it was right about now that he kind of realizes, oh shoot, I should have just tribute summoned out the Dark Lady. That way I had a zone open, and then back to the front, the Dark Destroyer in front of the Griffin, and then go off. And he's like, well, I messed up. This is too much. And he goes ahead and just scoops right then. So anyways, we sided, and he elected to go first. So playing Demise in there, of course, you're going to want to play going first. Especially with Kozmo, because you can just set up a lot of back to the fronts, call the haunted, stuff like that. He doesn't really draw anything else that'll help set up anything. He has a Slip Rider and a Dark Eclipser, I think that's what it's called, in the graveyard, and sets a card and passes. So it doesn't really help anything. Doesn't help especially that I top decked a evenly matched, so it's kind of a blowout at that point. I go ahead and normal summon my Emerald Bird, activate effect, and he activates the different dimension ground yet again. And then I'm reading Emerald Bird again, and it is all effect to go to the graveyard, and we all kind of agreed that it would not be able to resolve under different dimension ground because of that. Because it does state it has to go to the graveyard. It states to send a card to the graveyard and draw a card. I'm still not sure if that ruling's actually correct. I'll have to look that up. But anyways, I just go ahead and pass with that, and he activates a Trap Trick. And he's trying to figure out what he's going to set. He goes back and forth between a few different things. He realizes if he did the Scythe, then I would most likely end up winning against him. and I kind of agree because it doesn't really give him any real follow-ups. But a back to the front, as long as it resolves, he'll be able to float or search, depending on whichever one he wants to do. So anyways, we go ahead and it goes to, I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to be doing for my turn. I have a pretty stacked hand. I'm just thinking, okay, what's really going to be the most useful thing right now? Go ahead and do another Emerald Bird and activate effect to send and draw. That is all effect. So I'm just sitting here. Okay, well, I guess I should have just gone ahead normal to Kaleido Chick because I have plays, but I also didn't have a Tiger. But I did have a Tinky in hand, so it doesn't really make much of a difference because I can still Tinky to get a Tiger, bring back Kaleido Chick effect, cost to send. So it's I'm kind of thinking, well, I'm good either way it goes. So here I go ahead and make a as a thought Tinky to the Tiger, go and activate Tiger, bring Kaleido Chick, and do the whole rigmarole I was talking about earlier. I only have to worry about the Dark Eclipser, so there's not really a worry. I'm sitting here like, okay, what else do I do? Go ahead and reveal a Nessie, 2/4/6, and he hits the cloak. Nessie draw, and here I'm just thinking, okay, so I've got another. I drew a Tiger, so that's kind of a free win at that point almost. We go ahead and make a Boral Sword. Then I make Martin, bounce back a Tiger, activate again, and bring out Kaleido Chick. Don't really need to activate Kaleido Chick. I go ahead and banish the cloak to get boots. I might have those backwards. I don't really remember too well. I just know that one searches one searches out the trap. I honestly, I just like that interaction. I always forget their names. And so here I'm thinking, okay, well, I'll have a Boral Sword, and I'm thinking, what else do I have in my deck? And then I see it in my extra deck. I'm like, oh, I have never actually had the opportunity to play this card, Utopia Double. And at that point, I'm thinking, oh yeah, that's right, I have game, but I have to read this card, and I've never read it before. So I summon it, activate its effect, and at that point he scoops and he goes, oh yeah, that's right. I want to go ahead and thank everybody for watching and listening, and please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you want to, go ahead and share this video with anyone else. Thank you, and have a good day.